Stadium in Dallas, home to the SMU Mustangs.
Well, folks, we're just closer and closer to the CFT playoffs. 2 more games to go. It's the CFT for College Football 26 live from BBG Studios. I am the other guy alongside my broadcast partner, the one and only Brownsville Gamer.
And it's Indiana at SMU. For Indiana, they walk in as the top-seeded team, undefeated. And they're trying to go for win number 6. If they do, they'll be probably one of maybe 2 teams or 3. I think that's not going to be possible if one of our teams drop, that all 3 would make it into 6-0. But could be Indiana. We'll find out as we see SMU with the ball. SMU is currently 2-3. They're ranked 12th in the tournament, so they're already knocked out. They've had wins from Tennessee and Clemson, some interesting SEC teams, but couldn't get it done at Fresno State, couldn't get it done at Penn State, and even lost at Louisiana. So my question to you, Mark, that other guy, why is SMU so bad on the road? They can't win away. What's going on?
Honestly, I think it's just, I guess, the level of opponents that they've been facing. I guess the lights are just on too. It's the quarterback takes a sack. I think the lights are just on too bright, and it wasn't the fact of they're playing down the competition. It's just the fact of they just was unprepared, and they got caught off guard one too many times, and they fell behind so quickly. By the time they tried to play catch up, it was too little, too late. So I think it's just a matter of, great that they made it to the tournament. Happy for them, but they just ran into too many powerhouses, ran into too many powerful teams, and it's the result.
Well, look, let's see what happens now as Indiana has the ball. Like we mentioned before, they're the top-rated team in the tournament. They've won away at Oregon. They've won away at Boise State. They got it done at Bowling Green, and they got it done at Ole Miss. With the bye, they're going in with a positive 6-0 win. And right there, number 19 is going to get it done for a Hoosiers touchdown. And already, Indiana is on the board first.
Now, I do want to ask something. I was going to save this for the selection show, but I'm going to give a sneak peek of this question, and I want you to answer it. Not all of it now. Save your rest for the selection show. Do you think Indiana is the odds-on favorite outside of maybe an Ohio State to not only probably make it to the finals, but win it all?
Well, I guess I'll answer your question with a question. Mm-hmm. Will Indiana stay undefeated as a top seed? Because I feel that if that question is answered with a yes, then it'll probably help my response to your initial question. So, will Indiana stay undefeated? What do you think?
I think so. I honestly think, from what I've been seeing, what we've been seeing throughout this tournament, since we've seen, because we covered every single Indiana game.
And that's another big sack by number 16,
and
making
it's
it
3rd and 25. Lord Jesus. But to answer your question, I don't think there's any team that can beat them. I think, honestly, we've covered every single one of their games. And they have looked dominant in every single one of them. They've beaten teams by 20, by 30. One team they beat by damn near 50 points. It's not even fair. It's just, you know what I see when I see Indiana when they play games? I see like they're just playing live scrimmages. It's just they're playing against prime example.
Look at that, from the wide receiver number 3.
Prime example.
That should be Cooper Jr., and that's going to be another Hoosiers touchdown, already 13-0.
It's like it's live
in the first quarter. I mean, now that you've answered the question, I can say, yeah, if they're going to be the top seed and go undefeated and breeze through all of these competitors, I think Ohio State is going to have to deal with a very tough Indiana team. This is not going to be a type of Indiana pushover. I mean, the last time we seen a team from Indiana play like this, they won the whole thing. So they could be playing in championship form that we've seen before. But Ohio State, they are trying to prove that, they are the Ohio State University for a reason. So the Buckeyes might have a response for that. But I can definitely see Indiana and Ohio State for a national championship.
And I also think, just like I said, Ohio State's also been undefeated they have basically demolished everyone in their wake also. I think if these two teams were to meet, it'll be the irresistible force meeting the unmovable object, and something's got to give. I mean, in real life, they're going to be playing for the Big Ten championship, and
number one up the middle, and that's going to be a first down by Hemby.
What do you think Indiana's biggest strengths are throughout this entire tournament?
You're looking at him. It's Hemby. I mean, Hemby has been one of the leading force on the offense as a significant reason why they're able to get points on the board.
I was going to say.
And then you got Cooper Jr. that's also able to take it downfield. But Mendoza,
exactly,
he's the conductor of this entire offense. And
we're already in the first quarter. And look at the stats.
117 passing yards for only 26 rushing yards. And don't undermine Indiana's rushing game. If they have to turn it on, Hemby has demonstrated that they can make themselves go downfield. Speaking of which, he gets the ball, and it could have been a touchdown, but instead it'll end at the 1 yard line. Back to Hemby, and now he makes it for another touchdown, and that's his second for the game. So if you see those type of players turning it on, there's a reason why Indiana is up by 3 touchdowns, and we're not even at the end of the first half.
And do you think Mendoza, I mean, he's been a world beater behind this incredible offensive line. I mean, he's one of the reasons why he's getting these amazing throws off. These running backs are able to get these amazing blocks because this Indiana team is a well-oiled machine. And I think, again, I don't want to see bias, but I think outside Ohio State, I don't see nobody else that can that's on their level throughout this entire tournament and heading into the play. I don't think anybody's on their level.
Well, speaking of playoffs, let's remind everyone where we are. After this game, we're still going to see a Fresno State matchup. And once that Fresno State matchup is over, we would have completed round 6 of the preliminary matchup, which means that we'll be moving into our selection show. Announce with that sack, that's going to be 4th and 21. We'll announce the 8 teams that will participate in the national quarterfinal. We'll break down the quarterfinal matchups and determine who we think might be the big winners in this tournament. And we can even go deeper into talking more about teams like Indiana, Fresno State, Ohio State, even other teams that we we don't really talk about often, like Texas, or Oregon State or Oregon. Like, there's still a lot of teams that we can be able to, navigate through.
And we're going to
we'll figure that out soon.
We're going to go in detail, in depth to each team, all 8 teams. We're going to tell their strengths, their weaknesses, and what do we think we need to do to win it all. As we see a field goal by Indiana today to extend their lead.
Yep, so now they're up 24-0. Indiana was looking like they'll try to go for another touchdown, but SMU was able to hold them off for 3. But, SMU, they're going to have to figure out something to get on the board because it'll be really rough to go into the second half with nothing to show for it. So it's something that they'll have to figure out right now. As number 27 goes down the field, that's going to be a gain of 7, and that puts them the 20-yard line. It's now 2nd and 3.
And I think also it's just a matter of, again, we talked early in the game about SMU's disappointing, start. Let's look at their record and their losses. So, they beat Tennessee, which we'll talk about that team in the selection show. They beat Clemson, but then again they lost a heartbreaker to Fresno State.
They lost by 2. I think it was like 14-12.
Yeah, by a horrible time management. They lost to Penn State and they lost to Louisiana. Louisiana, I'm shocked they even made it here. But they lost to those teams. And those are bad losses, especially Fresno State. I think that one stings. Oh, my goodness.
Couldn't hold on to the ball, and that's going to stay at 2nd and 10.
I think that loss hurt them the most because they could have had that game in the bag. And
Mendoza was able to get it out, but the blitz was coming strong. Here comes with another incomplete
and
pass.
I think that's gonna be their first 3 and out.
Yes, that's their first 3 and out. And for the first time, we saw Indiana go for a punt. And now SMU gets the ball back with about a minute to go in the second half. Second quarter.
So let's talk about Indiana's record. Let's talk about who they've won against so far.
Yeah, well, I mentioned earlier they defeated Oregon away, Boise State also away, and then 3 games all at home from Bowling Green, Old Miss, and they had the bye in the second round, so they only had 4 opponents.
Right. And again, they won these games in decisive fashion. These wasn't close games. These wasn't a nail biter.
That
No,
wouldn't
these
be
were,
decisive then. They just won in all shutout form.
and it was some games was bad. As we got an injury from SMU, one of their receivers, he's hurt. Hopefully he's okay and get back in the game. And yeah, I mean Indiana they just demolished all their opponents. And he's gonna get
That's
sacked.
another big sack for a loss of 7.
What do you see from SMU so far? I mean, they just look out of place, out of sync. It's like they didn't even show up.
They can't generate their offense. At every other play, they're losing yards. You know, the object of the game is to go down the field and gain positive yards. But if you're unable to
wait a
do
minute.
that,
Wait a minute. What a great
that
block.
might actually change because number 13 with a big reception.
And they got an amazing block down the field. Maybe they heard what you said and now they're...
Well, now they're gaining something because right now, with 21 seconds, now about to be 20, they got to do something to put some points on the board. And I think that's a spike, so it stops the clock at 17 seconds.
And he's going to get sacked again.
Another sack.
And they can't stop the clock, so that's pretty much going to take us to the
They
half.
need to spike the ball, but they chose not to. And I don't know what they were thinking. They should have spiked the ball so they can go for a field goal and try to put points on the board.
I don't know what they
They can't afford to make a mistake like that.
What do you think about that decision making?
Whoever's coach, I don't know what you're doing, but you gave up 3 points. I don't think a team that is trailing by this much should be giving up any opportunity to score some points on the board. I think that's going to cost them big.
I mean, they're already down by 4 possessions.
I mean, and that could have been 21, right? Like, you are trying to chop points down to make this manageable as you go into the second half. Now you enter with a huge deficit. And I don't think you're walking out of there with a sense of confidence that they can try to topple a team like Indiana. Granted, they're the best team in the game, but it doesn't mean that you give up going into the second half. That's a severe weakness for SMU, and it's going to cost them.
Yeah, you're right. As we start the third quarter, and they're going to get it.
And that's another first down for Indiana. And again, with an Indiana that is this hot, you do not want to give up points and underestimate a real hot offense like Indiana.
I don't know what the halfback was doing. He got lost in translation. They're going to lose about 2 yards, 2nd and 12.
One mistake like that can cost them yards. But one reception could have erased it all, but now it's 3rd and 12.
Let's see. What can they do here? They're going to get it, but it's going to be a flag on the play.
I think that's defensive pass interference.
Let's see.
I saw some hands.
And it is.
It's defensive pass interference against SMU. So that's going to be an automatic first down. And for Indiana, that could make a big difference as he throws it deep, and that is not a complete pass. So it's 2nd and 10.
It's not like Indiana's receivers to drop passes. So
that's only a gain of 2. Now 3rd and 8.
What do you think about that?
Well, they're going to have to do something big to keep the chains going, and will do so with the first down.
Indiana is about to approach the red zone, and they're already there.
Already now at the red zone, 2nd and 2 at the 18-yard line.
It's a block
to Hemby, and that is a big first down. Puts them to the 5-yard line.
Henry's about 53 yards for 8 carries.
And gives it back to Hemby.
And he's going to go nowhere, 2nd and goal.
Doesn't gain much. I think that might have been a loss of a yard. But now it's 2nd and goal. Goes over and makes it for a touchdown. And that right there is going to put them to near 30. Actually, it will be 30. As States, the tight end number 19, makes that touchdown with the extra point with a 10-play, 77-yard drive for about 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Indiana has extended their lead to 31.
I mean, great drive, but Mendoza's got to be careful not to throw those hospital passes. He could have got his receiver hurt.
Could have been a pick at some point as well, but he keeps the offense moving, and now the defense holding SMU down. Could not get anything off of it other than 3 yards. Yes, this is a moment here. If SMU wants...
almost got sacked, avoided the sack. But they got to handle the
They
ball.
got to do something now because they're not handling the ball enough to get down the field. It's now 3rd and 7.
You're right.
At the 12.
50 seconds left to go in the third.
Quarterback steps back, still looking.
He's going to go
Throws deep. Doesn't make it happen.
You gotta commend these in Indiana corners and safeties. They're
straight shutting them down.
Exactly. These receivers from SMU can't get nothing. And Indiana is looking to extend their lead and put this game definitely out of reach. With 34 seconds left to go in the third, they're pretty much at midfield. Let's see what they're going to do with possession. They're going to get anything in the last 34 seconds.
Well, they're going to see if they can throw it in the air.
Got it.
As that becomes another complete pass for another first down. And this will be the final play of the quarter. Gets it in, and that's another first down. And that's going to be the end of the third quarter. Mendoza already over 200 yards as we move into the fourth and final quarter.
This looks pathetic.
208 passing yards. Indiana not really running the ball as much, but if you notice yards per play, they're getting 10 yards per play. So if you notice every play that they're making, if it's received, it's going to be a first down.
That should have been picked, but it wasn't.
That should have been picked. Instead, it's now 2nd and 10. Again, like I said before, every time they're getting it out in the air, if it's received, it's at least for 10 yards, or in this case, it's another Indiana touchdown. It's 37, make it 38-0.
Almost a 5-possession lead. And this game is pretty much out of reach. Indiana is probably going to improve to 6-0, and they're going to cruise into the playoffs with a undefeated record, joining Ohio State as one of the only left undefeated teams heading into the playoffs. This was another Indiana destruction, systematically taking this team apart like they've done any other team, and just it's at this point it gets enough's enough. I mean, when would it stop? When would these beatings stop? When would it stop?
Well, for Indiana, they're not trying to. If they're trying to go for a national title, they're going to keep on playing the way they are, and they'll just face the teams.
And the quarterback gets sacked again. That is the 9th sack. The 9th sack that Indiana has gotten over this quarterback. It's ridiculous.
It's a significant reason why Indiana is in the position that they're in. Now, you mentioned that if Indiana wins, which more than likely will be the case, they'll be undefeated. Indiana will also have Ohio State to join with them as undefeated. But my question now becomes, can Fresno State join that elite group? Because they'll be facing next.
Well, we'll talk about that at the next game. But you've been very critical of them for the last couple of games. But they're still undefeated. Indiana, as we see here, in Ohio State, the 3 undefeated teams heading into the playoffs.
NBA makes it up the middle, and that's going to be a game for first.
But we'll talk about that when we get to the game.
They're critical. I'm critical with this team because, look, are they a solid program? They're far better night and day compared to their previous self. But when they go up against tough competition, this is the same team that's facing a SMU that's getting blown out by Indiana by 38, and the game was close. It came down to 2 points.
Yeah, but the point
for
is,
Fresno State, they have to be able to face really tough teams if they're going to hold their own going into the playoffs. Well, we don't know that yet.
I don't. We'll talk about that.
We'll see when we see Fresno State play, because that's going to be their real big test in round 6. But right now, Hemby is trying to hold off that defender. Only got a gain of 4 as we move now down to the last 90 seconds of the game.
And I think Indiana's just going to run the call out. What are they doing? Why are they trying to run the ball?
Well, they are in third down territory. They want to see if they can go for another first down. So they'll burn the clock down to about 5 seconds on the play clock. 4, and now the snap is off. Gets it, and that's going to be a first down. And
that's going to end it.
That Indiana is going to call it a day right here. They got nothing to prove at this point. No sense for them to try to go for anything big. It'll probably be a running play to Hemby, assuming that they'll get the snap off with about 10 seconds to go on the play clock. Here it goes now. It's dialing down to 5. He's going to need to get the snap out right now. Will do. Gives it to Hemby. And Hemby is not going to really gain anything. 10 seconds to go. I think the clock's just going to wind down. And Indiana is going to defeat their 6th team, or in this case, their 5th team of the tournament. And they will now become undefeated, winning their 6th game.
Indiana heading back to the CFT playoffs for the second straight time in franchise and program history.
Mendoza, with play of the game for 248 yards for over 66% completion, making 4 touchdowns possible. Mendoza, a significant role player as to why they're moving into the national quarterfinals undefeated.
Well, folks, that's going to do us here for another edition of the CFT for College Football 26. I am that other guy. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like.
And the final score, SMU defeated by Indiana 38-0.
Well, see you guys later.
Thank you so much. Take care.